This Toro recycler with personal pace and rear wheel drive has no go. I pushed down on the personal pace and I got nothing. And when I tip the mower over on its side and push on the personal pace, we can see that the cable is doing its job, lifting the transmission into the right position, tightening up the belt and engaging that pulley. But the drive shafts coming out of this transmission don't turn. This transmission is busted. Hey guys and gals, welcome to Garage Gear. I'm JB, and just so we're clear here, these procedures will be great for most Toro recyclers with rear wheel drive and personal pace. Your model may vary, but the general practices here will remain the same. And the transmission that I'm replacing on this Toro recycler has a model number of P1396561. I'll have this transmission linked down below in the description, and be sure to check your part numbers on these before replacing. Step one, we're gonna unplug our spark plug. We don't want any unwanted starts. Warning, we're gonna be tipping this mower over on its side multiple times here, so you wanna make sure that you have the oil spout facing down and the air filter facing up. I'm gonna put some old cardboard down so I don't rough up the deck too much. Now to get going, we're taking the blade off. Block it at the bottom, 5/8 socket. There we go. Unthread that bolt and the blade comes right off. Now what we gotta do is get this baffle and this belt cover off. Using our height adjuster, we're just gonna slide this wheel all the way out of the way. We'll take it off later. Using our 10mm socket, we're taking these black bolts out. 10mm, here we go. We're not gonna lose it today. Set our wheel back. We have one screw right here underneath the back flap. We're gonna tip the mower back down. Time out. To help this video out with the YouTube algorithm, would you mind hitting that like button? Thank you. Then on the top of the deck, we have these two black bolts right here. Then over here on this side, I'm gonna prop this side up and use a jack stand, not a Harbor Freight jack stand. We're gonna lower this height adjuster here all the way out of the way. And we have these two black bolts on this side. Set the wheel back. You can see our baffle's already fallen out. Take out the jack stand. Now we're gonna tip the mower back. There it is. Well, that was convenient. The belt cover came right off, and so did our blade mount, which needed to come off too. And then here is our baffle. We're just gonna pull this right out, just like that. I love it when things just fall into place, or in this case, fall out of place. Now, if we look up here, we see a hook on our transmission. This is our cable to our personal pace. We gotta push this in, wiggle it out, and off she comes. Get out of my way. From here, we can swing this belt all the way over, and here's our belt guide. This guy's gotta come off. Thanks, Toro, for being weird. We have some square bolts here. We have 1, 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. We gotta take them out. We're gonna use a square number 2 bit to get them out. That's 1, there's 2, and 3. Off comes our belt guide and our belt. We're gonna tip it back again. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna prop this guy up on the deck on some jack stands, just like that. We're gonna remove our back wheels. This is a 1/2-inch socket. Off comes our dust shield. You can see we have our gear on the back, and we'll take out our bolt. Same thing here on the other side. From here, there's a small snap ring around this drive shaft, and what we're gonna use is some snap ring pliers. Get the prongs in, open it up, take it off, just like that. And from here, this gear should just slide right off. There we go. And then the washer on the backside. Same thing over here. Get the snap ring off. There it is. Slide your gear off. And then your washer, which are made of plastic. And from here, we're just gonna tip our mower up off of our jack stands and onto the ground. Just like that. Now from here, we gotta disassemble one of our height adjusters, and those 2 bolts are gonna be right here. We have a 1/2-inch socket and a 1/2-inch wrench going on the back. We also have this bolt hidden right here, which has a 1/2-inch nut on the back. Only way to get it off is with a wrench. Way to go, Toro, with a lovely design. Out it comes. We also have a bolt right up here that we have to loosen. It's a 10mm. Now, this whole guy moves freely. From here, what I gotta do is shift this transmission up or down, whatever's easiest, and do whatever easiest for you. Go, we're going, come on. No, maybe we gotta go down. There it is. From here, I just wiggled the height adjuster out of the way temporarily, and we're just gonna pull up on this guy. Because of the corrosion here, it doesn't really wanna slip out that easy. Now, after loosening the height adjuster, this end came up to about here, but it still gets in the way of the deck. So what I'm gonna do is loosen up the bottom height adjuster, and hopefully it should just slide right out. Well, by loosening the height adjusters, the rear flap does come off. Just a heads up. We're also gonna take the flap out here just to give ourselves another advantage. Pop that right out. Now, there it is, we got it. That transmission is now free. And here's the brand new one, all nice and shiny. But in order to get this one in nice and easy, what I'm gonna do is lubricate the ends with a little bit of red and tacky grease, our good old friend. Slap a little bit on here, slap a little bit on this end. All right, now that our transmission's all lubed up, we're gonna slide it right back into place exactly the way we found the last one. Insert it on the bottom. Feed that baby in. There we go. That went in great. And then from here, we're just going to drop the top on like so. Woo! A little extra saucy there. The transmission's now in, so now we're just going to reverse all our steps and put everything back the way it was. Get our flap back in place here. Thread in our bolt. Those you could sometimes just do by hand. I'm going to pop my back panel into place. Make sure these springs go in the correct direction. We're going to reset those springs. Back flap is in place. And we're going to start locking this transmission back into place with these height adjusters. Why do I have a feeling you're gonna give me a hard time? You're going in whether you like it or not, pal. We're gonna send our bolts in through the top. And then this guy right here, we'll just crank it down by hand. And tight, good. We'll get our plastic screw in up here on the top. From here, we're gonna drop the mower back down carefully and then set it right up on our height adjusters, like that. Next, we're gonna lube up some gears. Why? Because that's what we do best here at Garage Gear.
You're goddamn right.
Coat it all up. This will help prevent any corrosion and prevent that gear from sticking. We're gonna slide on our plastic washer, our wannabe washer. Put a little bit more grease on there. Slide on our gear. And then from here, our snap ring just goes on just to hold it in place. Open it up. Good deal. She ain't coming off now. Slap a little grease on that bad boy. A lot of people like to say that this becomes a grass magnet when you start mowing the lawn. And if you clean your wheels out at least once a season, it really doesn't become a problem. And if you re-grease them like this from season to season, it helps keep things moving and lubricated. Same thing over here. Grease it all up. Slide on the plastic washer. Slap a little bit more grease on. Send on our gear. Take our snap ring. Open it up. Clip it on, grease it all up, and that gear is good to go. From here, I just went ahead and greased the gears inside the wheels. This will help to keep things lubricated and moving and help prevent any future corrosion. I even coated the wheel bolts too. Next step, we're putting a wheel on. We're gonna put our dust cover right over all that. And then from here, it's as simple as line up your gear here with this small hole and getting the screw in its place. Send them right in. Same thing on the other side. Dust cover on, pop it into place. At this point, I'm just gonna ease it down. And at the same time, I don't want to hit my transmission on the bottom. We're just going to tip it right to its side. Let's have a closer look at our belt, shall we? I wanted to show you this. This belt has some wear to it. You can see it's cracking, it's coming apart. It's not looking too good. And I don't want, this neighbor of mine complaining a month from now or a couple months from now, saying that their mower won't go anymore because maybe the belt snapped. We're going to swap this guy out. I got a brand new belt here. You can see this one is green in color. Sometimes they're black, sometimes they're green, sometimes they're brown. Doesn't matter. It's the same size, same shape. Let's get this new belt on. We got the new belt. We're gonna stick that right in place like that. And then from here, our belt guide goes right over in place there. Get our first screw in to hold it in place. Now our two screws on the bottom and the last. All tight. Good. Swing that baby around. Looks like Christmas underneath here now. I'm gonna push this transmission forward now, as far as we can, and rehook our personal pace cable. There it is. And from here, we're just gonna wiggle our baffle back into place. We're gonna grab the height adjuster and slide this guy out of the way. And then from here, two screws in. Reset our wheel. We got our one on the back. We're gonna line this baby up. Tip it back down so we can get to the other side. Prop this guy up. Line up our baffle here on the back side. Bring her around town. Get the jack out and tip it back. Now here on our drive shaft from the engine, we have a key slot here, and inside our blade mount, we have a keyway, which has to line up on that key slot right there. Before I slide that thing on, I'm gonna coat it with a quick, thin layer of anti-seize so we can easily get this thing off if we ever have to do any future repairs. Warning, anti-seize gets on everything. So be cautious, be careful. You'll most likely be wearing it when you're done. Do a little bit around the end here, inside that keyway. Should be all we need. I'm putting this stuff away. This stuff's dangerous. See what I mean? I'm gonna slide on this belt guide right here. I'm gonna slide on this pulley, line it right up, get that belt in place quick. Boom, there it is. Now right here is our belt cover, and this actually acts as a belt guide as well. I have my two screws. I'm gonna hold it here with one hand and pop the screws in from the other side. Okay, stop. This is why Toros are so much fun, because this and this are two separate pieces, but they go on as one. So I'm just gonna loosen up these two bolts up here See if I can wiggle this right back into place because it actually has to fit inside this baffle here. Can we peel it back? Yep, perfect. I'm gonna send these screws back in on the top. Oh, how convenient is that? Those holes lined right up. Black screws going in, holding that shroud with this hand, screwing in with the other. She ain't moving. Set the wheel back. And to finish this off, we're gonna line up our blade. This panel goes over the top. I'm gonna thread the bolt in by hand first, tighten it down. All right, let's tip this mower back down for the final time. There we go. Everything rolls as it should right now. That's a good sign. And as a last step, don't forget to reinstall your spark plug. That brand new transmission is now in place, so if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go test it out. All right, let's give it a pull and see what she does. So far, so good. Yep. Looks good to me. Ha ha. We'll take that any day of the week. Now here are a few tips and tricks to help you out with this procedure. First off, know this whole procedure took about 90 minutes to complete with the right tools on hand. Once your transmission's in place, you may have to make a few cable adjustments right here by loosening this nut and sliding this cable up 1 or 2 threads at a time to get your personal pace settings just right. This way you're able to back up the unit without any issues. Stupid baby carriage handle. Also, if your rear trunk flap comes out of place like mine did earlier in the video, make sure that your springs are hooked in the right place just like these are. See how the long tab faces the back panel and the small hook wraps around and sits in this notch. That rear flap can pop out because it's sandwiched between the 2 height adjusters. Man, I could go for a turkey sandwich right about now. And if one of the ends comes loose, the whole thing can just pop right out. Also, keeping your gears and your drive shafts properly lubricated at least once a season can help make repairs down the road a lot easier. And it'll prevent any seizing from happening. What I've seen some people do is I've seen them tip the unit on its front wheels and then balance the handlebars on maybe a workbench or a chair. Just know if you're going to do that, you probably want to drain the gas out because it will leak out in this position when it's tipped on its front end. And the oil dripping down into the engine in that situation is probably not a good thing. So if you're going to do that, probably best to drain out all your fluids and then refill them when the whole procedure is done. Now, the interesting thing about this mower is that it's only about 4 years old. My neighbor who lives only a couple doors away brought this to me and has a 5,000 square foot lawn. So this is a basic mower that's officially busted after a short time. This is a budget mower, and this is how companies do business nowadays. A couple years down the road, you got to invest about a quarter of what you paid into repairs. The unfortunate thing is they more or less try to force you to buy a new one. If you're interested in checking out the full review on the latest TORO recycler with front wheel drive, I'll have that video linked down below in the description. For more cool garage gear content, click or tap the screen right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garage.